Thank you. 6:36 now. I'm joined by Denise Speidel, and as a parent, I lose my cool. I keep telling myself in my head, I go, this is not a real problem, this is not a real problem, like talking myself down. And you have talked with an expert who pretty much says the way most of us parents discipline needs to be thrown out the window. Kids really need a different approach altogether.
Right. Kimberly Blaine is kind of a child expert. She's worked with a lot of psychologists, and she wrote this book called Emotion Coaching. And she says the whole point of discipline is to teach kids how and why they should behave appropriately. Kim, the problem is too often parents are lashing out in anger, and that's ineffective. She says if you yell, spank, or even isolate your child, the child is simply going to disengage and lose trust in you. You may remember this as a child, you may see your children doing it, and that can actually follow them into adulthood. So Blaine says parents have to stop focusing solely on the end behavior because kids are very emotional, and so that's how you reach them. Adults are behavior-oriented, but kids are different. Whether cranky or rambunctious, kids feel first, but must learn to reason.
We take emotions for granted, and our children base their whole lives on how they feel. So I help parents stop in their tracks before they punish and say, go for the emotions. You will be shocked.
Blaine calls it emotion coaching. First, parents dialogue with the child, empathizing with how they feel and why they are misbehaving. Then they set the boundaries, stating the rules and explaining why they exist. Finally, parents talk about the consequences for continued misbehavior. Now, setting limits with consequences may sound like punishment, but Blaine says chatting with your child keeps you calm and gives the child more control.
When you set limits as a parent, regardless of how old your child is, in the end, they're responsible, not you. If you punish a child, regardless of their age, guess who's responsible? You as a parent. You don't want to take the responsibility. You want your child to always be self-responsible.
So the book gets really specific about this thing called natural consequences, consequences that come along the lines of the misbehavior, and that helps the child learn how their behavior affects others, also empowers them to take responsibility. And Kim, I didn't have time, I wish I did, but the book also goes into a different type of parenting, this loosey-goosey sort of hands-off parent. And those children can suffer a lot of the same consequences in their adolescence and adult years, mistrust, resentment, anything like insecurity, that'll follow them.
Well, do you have a direct line to Kimberly? Because lately I've been dealing with, geez, Mom, I'm just 5.
Here you go.
Thank you. Direct dial on that one. Thank you, Denise Speidel.